What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Boy Detectives Presents. My name is Anthony Zonfrelli.
And I'm Will Van Antwerp.
And this is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade float/balloon draft. A real mouthful. Should be fun. Last week we had the Nintendo character draft, which I came just short of winning. Our guest said.
I also did.
You came very, very short of winning.
You do the first 3 laps. That's what they said.
That's right. Will, what do you think of today's draft?
Who won last week?
Maya did.
Did she do a video?
I do not believe so.
All right. Well, that's disappointing.
It is.
Okay.
I was hoping you were going to throw to one.
I'm living in the moment. You think I have these grand plans behind me? No, I don't. I'm genuinely asking questions. I'm not
okay. Here's hoping you're just as confused during the draft. Without further ado, let's bring out our 2 guests for this evening. 2 very special guests for the Thanksgiving Day Parade draft. Please welcome to the show Caitlin Buckley and Jess Schmidt.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank
Ready
you.
to rumble.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
You got it. Thanks for suggesting this draft, Jess.
Hey, I've lived for this. This is a niche area of love and expertise that I have that I'm sharing with you today.
Why don't you talk to us about your love for the Macy's Day Parade?
This parade was my key to anything outside of where I grew up, which was Minot, North Dakota. And so as a kid, I would watch this so seriously because this and LeVar Burton were the only images I had of New York City. And I promised myself that when I became an adult, I would go. And so I actualized that about 3 or 4 years ago. I was there. I stood next to the apartment building that Hank Azaria lived in, and he came downstairs and watched with us.
Wow.
I love it.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's my love. It's to this day, New York is the parade for me. As sad as that is.
No,
No.
I love that.
Not sad at all.
Great. Caitlin, what's your experience with this parade?
Well, I was lucky enough to have been in a marching band that marched in the parade. Yes, I have footage. I'm going to put in the chat.
Oh, man.
2002, Salem High School Blue Devils Marching Band and Color Guard. We were right between Jeff Corwin's Animal Adventures and the Baha Men. But Baha Men, like,
what?
Baha Men, yeah, post Who Let the Dogs Out, like years.
Wait, that's amazing. That's amazing that they had the Animal Adventure first. If one of them escaped, the Baha Men were right behind to ask them to let the dogs out.
Let them out. It's old school Roker, my coach.
There it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he also called us an economy-sized band, which I don't know if it was like what, but yeah.
Caitlin, how cold was it that day? Because I know that makes
it was so cold.
Dang, look at the formation.
We had, look at us. We may not have rhythm and soul, but boy, are we stiff and we're ready to march. Look at all those pasty white faces.
Is it clarinet?
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah. On clarinet vibes.
Yeah, big clarinet vibes coming from me, and it didn't take a lot of effort. Like the only sounds you hear in the band, right, are the horns and the drums.
Yeah.
So I could just, if I didn't feel like it, I didn't have to play because that's what a team is for. To like.
And I know you had sensible hats. Like a lot of the times, marching bands have those, the giant hats that on a cold day they can be helpful.
Yeah, it was like kind of like a little bucket, and it had a little feather, but it wasn't like an ostentatious feather.
Yeah,
it was a subtle feather.
Yeah, we look like early 19th century like Prussian soldiers.
That's what you're going for.
Yeah.
But it was the goal.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. It really was. I'm glad that I did it. And there's fun fact about this. during our little floor show in front of NBC, it was a year after 9/11. So we designed, our band director, who's amazing. I love him so much, Marty Clausen. We do this formation where we spell out NYC and then we go in formation to USA. So very American.
Wow.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, I think Will and I had the same idea of what you were going.
When you went into formations, I had it. But you know what? That's a great opportunity to just move on.
Thank you for your service, Caitlin.
You know what? I do that.
All right. Let's determine the draft order. What do you say, Anthony?
Sure. Let's first mention who our teams are and who our coaches are. Will, would you start?
Yeah, so at the very last second, I decided to change my team name to something a little more clever, and that's going to be Pie Formation, a very funny pun, taking pies from Thanksgiving and I Formations, a classic football lineup, and smashing those together. So really bringing the two worlds into one. And my coach might be a little obscure for you all, is going to be Brad Lockman. Here's the thing. He's a little bit understated, but he has been producing the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade for 3 decades. And that's what I want in a coach. He knows everything behind the
Longevity.
scenes. He's got a long track record of success, and he's not out there trying to be a showboat, make it all about himself. He's getting things done behind the scenes.
Wow.
Nice. Good choice.
And look at him. He looks like a football coach.
Fantastic hair. That cloth is on point.
It's very Love Boat.
Yeah.
I love that boat. All right. Who's next?
I'll go. My team is Winner Winner Turkey Dinner. Another very, very funny team name, taking the common phrase Winner Winner Chicken Dinner, but then injecting the word turkey from Thanksgiving. And my coach is Boss Baby, whose float is about to make his debut this 2020.
Nice.
Boss Baby, extremely intelligent, but also has the youth. I want this team to last, for a good long dynasty. So I think starting out with a baby allows me to maximize those chances. And also, we found that just, people in suits tend to look better as coaches, as has historically been the case on this show.
But they don't perform better. Look at Mike Nolan.
Great point.
Okay.
I believe Boss Baby. I believe Boss Baby will be more serviceable. Caitlin, how about your team?
So my team is Marching Band Madness. I got to rep the marching band, and my coach is the one and only Tom Turkey Float. Because he makes an entrance. He's intimidating. His eyes kind of move around. You don't really know where he's looking or what he's thinking. And I want the other team to be very nervous about facing this giant turkey that is pretty deranged. If you look at that, it's not okay.
It's wild. It's like when you come across a goose in the parking lot. He's got that same energy.
Yeah.
He looks like living salmonella to me.
Yeah, and he has a tie too, so he's still professional.
So there's the suit,
Yeah. Well, keeping on the suit theme, I am representing today the Piesman Trophy winners, and
very good.
My coach doesn't get better than this, folks. It's Al Roker. Look at Al Roker. Look at Al Roker. That smile. This guy has been the heart and soul of this parade without actually being in the parade. The guy has been on the side of a motorcycle car, being a part of the team. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, him. He's beautiful. This man models what I want for my team. He was diagnosed with cancer. Literally, like a few weeks ago, went in for surgery. He's going to be there on Thursday. That's
wow.
Dedication, wears a tie, cannot beat Roker.
Yeah, that's a strong coach right there.
Wow. Great
Ron
pick.
Rivera-esque.
We're all shocked into solemnity by Al Roker.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the pick. Mr. Mason Parade himself. All right, let's determine this draft order with a good old-fashioned randomized 100-yard dash starting now.
Ugh, this is where I have concerns about my performance.
Look, I'm
Will ultimately lead.
fall back into last place.
Oh, boy.
I've seen this game before. I'm not going to win.
Oh, God.
I,
Yeah, you
Will,
are.
have like a 20-yard lead.
Maybe.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Just like real life. Oh, my God. It's,
Oh, wow. Okay.
oh.
Wow, that was
it's
strenuous.
It's like grade school, you know, the schoolyard pick. That's too close to home.
All right, so the draft order is Will, myself, Caitlin, then Jess. It'll be a snake draft, so we'll reverse the order for the second round. This might be the first time Will's coming first. It might even be the first time Will hasn't come in last.
I'm so used to picking at 4 or 5. I don't know what to do right now.
There's way more pressure on it, and you got to wait a while for your next one.
I
Have
guess,
one more often, Will.
is the McRib an option? No, seriously.
Just to remind everyone at home, we are drafting a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, a kicker, and a defense. And that defense can be whatever we think qualifies as a group or team that could be a good defense, sometimes even a single player. We also said that anything in the parade is on limits. That includes floats, balloons, balloonicles. What was the other one? Flaloons?
Yeah.
Balloons?
Balloons. Float balloons.
Oh,
Float
God.
balloons? Yeah. All right. I do a lot of research. I didn't know anything about this.
I thought you were just making up words. So.
No, these are real.
Yeah.
Check the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, there's a fandom.
That's where I've been living today. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're first overall.
I'm not going to overthink it. There's one balloon as a Macy's Parade novice. There's one balloon that I thought of, and that is the Snoopy balloon. So
Yeah.
I am gonna take Snoopy as my quarterback, dependable, reliable, and I am specifically going to take astronaut Snoopy.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, which is the variation of Snoopy that's been featured a lot lately. Right now he's being blocked by Al Roker's head, but you can see he's out of this world.
Wow.
I have a question about this, though. I mean,
Yeah.
Doesn't he have oxygen problems
Oh,
if he's wearing that thing?
yeah.
Why would he, if he has oxygen in it and he needs oxygen to breathe, wouldn't he have oxygen?
Another thing that can go wrong, you know? I don't know. I
Well, he
mean,
could just take it off and then he's still in our atmosphere and he can breathe our oxygen.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
What if he's weakened from space? Because he maybe lost bone density, he lost some muscle tone.
That's a good point.
I think
Let's tear down this first overall pick
what
immediately.
he's potentially lost in space, he's gained in mental dexterity, concentration, and force of will. And I think that the suit is going to provide a nice protective shield against potential pass rushers.
I'm only picking on it because I'm jealous.
Thank you.
I'm picking on it because it's bad. Well, Snoopy can't talk and therefore can't call plays in the huddle. Does that worry you at all?
We're just going to have someone else call the plays. I think what's really going to be advantageous is the team's use of a silent snap count when they go into opposing stadiums. They don't have to worry about the crowd noise interfering with their ability to execute the offense.
There you go. There you go. All right. I'm up now, and I, again, had no idea what floats are considered popular, what floats are considered good. I didn't know who people be scrambling after. So I'm just going to go from the heart here, and I'm going to take who I believe I think this is a running back who, dare I say, is untackleable. I am going to draft the Weeble as my running back.
Wow.
Now,
Throwback.
here's the thing about Weebles. They wobble, but they don't fall down. Now, you cannot tackle this man. That's why he's easily the best running back on the board.
Wow.
He doesn't look like a running back. He looks like an egg.
Yeah, well, he breaks stereotype. He's a one-of-a-kind athlete. He's generational.
Is he wearing a diaper?
They have. Look, he's got a unique lower body build.
Yeah, that's one way of saying it.
Right, and as such, there's no way that he can be brought down.
Well, if the Weeble wobbles so far that his elbow touches the ground, it doesn't matter that he's gone to the ground. A part of him is what?
Will, it's almost like you didn't hear the second half of what I said.
I'll be honest, I don't listen most of the time when you're talking.
Well, Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Well, he didn't have to fall down. Maybe he stayed on balance, but his elbow to hit the ground.
He doesn't have elbows. Look, he doesn't have elbows.
Right.
I'm looking at an elbow.
He has
Thank
chicken.
you, Matt. They don't fall down.
Oh God, he has drumstick arms.
Yeah, he's
all right.
saluting, I think.
Yeah.
No leg?
Yes, what elbow?
What elbow? Yeah.
Okay, Caitlin.
Caitlin, save us from this black
I
hole.
don't know if I'm going to save you, but for my quarterback, I have to go with, a character I think I would trust my life with, and that is Kermit the Frog.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, this is my reasoning for Kermit the Frog as QD. So in the Muppet universe, Kermit is at the center of all of these wild characters who are, kind of deranged to various degrees, and he keeps the ship steady. He is the center of it. So, and everybody somehow listens to Kermit, even though he might not have the loudest voice in the room. I think he has, the voice of leadership. So that's why I chose Kermit.
Yeah, it's hard to rip on Kermit. I mean, in and out of the locker room, that guy's a stand-up guy, right?
Yeah, solid character, solid moral character. Yeah, I mean, the silence speaks volumes here. No one can find a problem with Kermit.
Yeah,
my mom agreed.
Yeah. The moms agree. We're seeing that. Excellent.
We had like a Roker moment for Kermit, which
we're going way back.
Silence.
I blacked out and thought about the rainbow connection.
That'll psych out the other team.
I thought I have these sunglasses on. All right, Jess, why don't you help us close out the first round?
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go for my wide receiver here. We're gonna talk about the wide receiver. We need somebody who's speedy, somebody who's quick, somebody who can elude defenders. We need somebody who's good on the edge or in the slot, right? So we are going with Bart Simpson.
Oh,
nice.
Here's the thing about Bart. There is a Bart that I really want our friend Matt Fear to pull up here, because Bart Simpson, the thing about his form is that he is stiff arming. He is full on stiff arming, and he's on a skateboard. So he's super fast. He has this charming little smirk on his face. You know that he's up to no. There he is. Perfect. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
He's an unpredictable player. Great juker. You want this guy.
He looks like he's actively winning the Heisman Trophy.
He is, yeah. I mean, he comes ready to play with that arm. It's hard to, he's a little bit of a bad boy, adds a little bit of spice to the team.
Are you worried about discipline issues with Bart Simpson?
Honestly, I'm expecting a few things to happen during the season, but I'm pretty sure Roker can keep him, on the line. At practice when he needs to be there. Sometimes you give a little, get a little, right?
We have a little bit of a backlash in the chat here. We have Dan Dropkin Frank saying Bart is horrible.
Whoa.
And that's terrifying.
Bart is horrible?
I would like it.
You're just gonna say Bart is horrible?
I'm gonna say Bart was on my board as well.
I had Bart as well. Yeah.
Oh man. I don't know. I mean, again, I think the speed's there. I think the personality's there. I think his form is there. The guy's an all-around athlete.
Mm-hmm.
DDF, I challenge you to say else about Bart, because
get hit with the ellipses. Get out of here. Get out. He's just mad. I'm pretty sure he came in last in the Nintendo draft last week. We shouldn't even be entertaining this
outside chat.
Lame ass opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. Bart really challenges the man. That makes him an iconic character.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And a lot of great wide receivers have been troublemakers historically. So there's, if you're gonna put him anywhere.
Yep. Perfect. He's ready to rock.
All right, Jess, start us off on round 2.
Oh God, I have to go again. Blah, blah. It's early. It's early, but I'm gonna bust out a secret weapon.
Wow.
I want somebody special here at the tight end position. And what I'm looking for here is a really good receiver and a blocker, somebody with good reach, reliable hands, right? Out of Notre Dame, I'm going to draft the Oil of Olay. Her future is stemsational float.
Wow.
Now let me talk to you about Oil of Olay. I wanted her, and that's the kind of game I'm playing here. Is we're going to go ahead and take her right away. The deal with the Oil of Olay lady is that she rides in a rocket ship. She is over 40 feet tall. So when we talk about reach, it just doesn't get better. There she is. Look at her.
Oh, wow.
Look at her. Look at her and look at Roker. She has a robotic arm. So that would be extremely, thank you. Oh,
She's got some reach.
Yep, got the reach. The thing is also she has a stem focus. So you know that her trajectory is going to be really solid, good.
She's going to get leverage on blocks.
Yep. 100%. We talk a lot about toe drag swag. This is more of an arm drag situation. She does not have toes, but I think that's going to be new for the league. Will she have oxygen problems in the rocket?
Oh, yeah. We're back to the oxygen problems.
She's going to be emaciated and not have any body strength. Blah, blah, blah.
What happens when I try to go offensive? I can't do it. She's a woman, so no.
She's a woman in STEM.
Woman in STEM, exactly. So that's
right.
my pick, my second pick.
Wow, that was
Excellent.
a true out of the blue pick. I had no idea what that was, and now I'm blown away.
I hope you all look for it on Thursday because she's
excited.
Great.
All right, Caitlin.
All right, so for my second pick, I'm going to go with a wide receiver. As you all know, I don't know anything about football. So a lot of these picks are from the heart. So when I looked up what a wide receiver does, I thought that the Grinch would be a great choice.
Ooh.
Because
Interesting.
Yeah, and this is why. So the Grinch is devious and single-minded. He's got a big sack on his back, right? So he can kind of he could put other players in the sack and just keep going. He's supposed to catch passes, right? And they have to be fast and tall. So the Grinch is pretty fast, pretty tall.
Ooh.
He's also, as we know, very, very mean, but I mean, overall, he has a sweetheart. He just hates other people, which I think would be a good quality for a football player.
You also get Max as a 2-for-1.
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So does that make any sense for people that understand football? Does it?
Yeah.
I mean, Caitlin, it makes as much sense as anything else on the show.
It was on my wide receiver list.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
nice.
you go.
I like that he's another bad boy, that guy's got a smirk too. He's going to run around and cause a little trouble. And I bet he's got he's quick, right? Didn't he come down the chimney and then go sight unseen when he stole from
exactly.
house,
one, he burglarized the entire town and nobody knew about it until they woke up the next morning.
Be good
so, yeah, that's something to think about. I think the other team would be quite frightened to see a Grinch. I know if I saw a Grinch, I'd be scared.
True. So here's the thing. I would have considered putting him on defense due to the fact that he sneaks in and steals everything. I figured he'd be a high turnover
I like a little
ratio.
more meat on my defense. I think I like him more a wide receiver where Caitlin has him.
Yeah.
That's fair. Hey, that's why these teams are going to be different,
All right. Speaking of your thoughts on these picks.
All right. So I'm going to go with a tight end here, and I'm going to take someone who I'm picking up on Caitlin's team theme, and I'm going to stop it right now. I'm going to take a green person of my own and take the green giant.
Oh
no!
Wow.
He is freaking enormous. Look at this face. He's going to listen to every order you give him. Big dope. Pretty much. He looks not dissimilar from Gronk.
You're right.
No, yeah, he's not blinking. I don't think Gronk
I don't think Gronk has ever blinked.
Yeah.
There's not a thought in that pretty green head.
Nope. And that's what you want in your tight end. You don't want him to overthink it.
And he's healthy because he eats a lot of vegetables.
Yeah.
Right. You know, his bones are strong. He's a growing boy. Yeah. We don't want a wimpy team.
He or is he not sitting on a toilet on that float? Yeah, what is he doing?
He is kneeling. He is kneeling so as to give. He's reaping corn. It looks like.
That's one way to say it.
Yeah.
The thing is he kneeling for the flag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he is 100% kneeling. They're in the middle of playing the national anthem in this parade.
Wow.
That is when this photo was shot. So green giant on the right side of history.
Yeah.
And on my squad. All right, Will.
Okay, that's a great pick, but I'm going to hit you with a better pick. And I think I've done this before in a previous draft, but we do a lot of these. So I am going to go for the number one wide receiver on my board, and that is going to be Spider-Man. Long, lean, strong powers, and the webs. Throw the ball anywhere around him. You can shoot him with the web and bring that catch in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No fumble.
I can't fault you on this pick, except for the lack of creativity, and that it's probably your third Spider-Man you've taken in these drafts.
We got to stop doing so many drafts that have Spider-Man in them.
Yeah.
Do you have something that happened in your childhood that causes you to, oh, that's my sister weighing in?
Predictable. Listen, the later rounds are where you get cute. Up front, you want the stalwarts of your team, but that's Snoopy and Spider-Man.
Yeah. They're classic. And Spider-Man, I feel like he could play any position because he is a superhero. And he's like nimble and agile.
One thing about Spider-Man, he's been in the parade for a long time too, I have to say, whether that's good or bad. And there's also, I like this version of him. I think it's a little cleaned up. His earlier versions were a little chunkier, but this one seems very agile. I do have to agree.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's kind of a thick Spider-Man. Oh, man, what is that?
And I'm all for chunky Spider-Man, but, you know, he's definitely gone through a lot in his years.
Listen, if he gets too chunky, we can move over to tight end.
He was a little thick.
Oh, yeah.
Matt, I got one if you want to come over to my screen. That's upsetting.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
Hey, you know what he does off the field doesn't matter.
Deal.
He's on the field right now. This is the field.
That's a great photo.
Right. You still want
Spider-Man and Uncle Sam are two consenting floats.
That's
and
right.
We just have to be okay with it, you know? It's not their problem. It's our problem.
I've never seen a photo that better captures the current vibe in America.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anthony, your brother is hitting me with too many ellipses. I can't tell if he's agreeing with me or roasting me.
I feel like he's probably roasting you.
Probably. Okay, so let's move on to the start of the third round. But before we do that, let's do everyone's favorite segment, which is a can check. What's everybody drinking? Jess, we start us off.
I'm drinking Oi Ocha Japanese unsweetened green tea because I gotta stay with you for this. So
Smart.
try to stay alive.
Smart.
Kayla, what do you got?
Just some water.
Oh boy.
Anthony, still nursing the haze.
Nursing the haze. I got like 2 or 3 left because I'm too afraid to go to the store.
How many weeks has it been now, Anthony, on the haze?
It's been fewer than 12.
That's yeah.
That's the same haze he's been slowly drinking over the last.
Yes, it's the same can.
He drinks a quarter of the beer every show and puts it back in the fridge for next week.
I will. What are you drinking?
Oh, and I've got a little. This is Laura's beer, but it's one hop this time from Night Shift. And,
Nice.
Yeah, she bought a 4-pack, and I've had 3 of them. So thank you, Laura. Okay, let's move on to the third round. At running back, I'm going to go a little bit off the board for everyone saying that I'm going to by the book. I am going to take the lion from the Central Park Zoo.
Oh.
Whoa.
For those of you who really got into the lore and history of this parade, you'll note that in the very first Thanksgiving Day parade for Macy's, they actually had the Central Park Zoo animals as a part of the parade, which would be way too dangerous today. But back then, who cared? It was the 1920s.
Great idea. Great
Now,
idea.
so this is an actual lion?
It's a real lion. It was from the Central Park Zoo. I mean, I assume maybe they had a few of them. I'll take the best one, and that will be my feedback.
So I will say, knowing that it's a real lion, it's a much better pick than what I thought it was. I thought you were drafting Linus the Lionhearted.
Yeah.
And I was so ready for you to have made that pick. But a real life lion.
Yeah.
Are there photos from that parade?
Oh God.
That poor lion.
Mm.
Can you
Can you imagine? We all sit at the same time. Like all those people, and it's like a wild animal
terrible.
living in a cage.
I don't know that I can stand behind that.
Everybody's like yelling at it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it like didn't maul people.
I got it, man. Bring it up. Okay, so these aren't the lions, but these are the elephants, right? So this is horribly upsetting.
Well.
First the Spider-Man and Uncle Sam picture. Now
the elephant. God.
Yeah, the elephants were too sad. That's not why I didn't take them. All right, let's move on before we get too sad.
Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna reach a little bit and draft the kicker before anyone else does, so I can get my first pick here.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I know what you're gonna do.
I am going to draft a float here. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. Float is my kicker.
Wow.
Just a big ass shoe.
You can't really miss the ball with that big ass shoe.
Yeah.
Right? I figure laces out, laces in, doesn't friggin' matter.
Does the float come with the old lady, and did she have a lot of children or grandchildren? Was that
I think she had so many that she didn't know what to do.
Okay, yeah. So you've got extra people, to help out.
Right.
There.
So I got plenty of holders if the snaps awry. What do we even call this? Old woman in a shoe.
Yeah, just a poverty-stricken woman who can't house herself or her children.
Has to eat
Great idea.
I'm employing her. This is a rags to riches tale here. Basically like the Tony Danza classic garbage kicking, field goal kicking Philadelphia phenomenon. With higher stakes.
Wow.
I'm trying to find something snarky to say about this pick, but I think it's perfect.
Again, it's a very sad story. You guys are really drawing upon the darkest moments to build teams.
But like a phoenix.
Yeah,
I mean, it can't be.
The dark side.
So I'm looking at here in 1967, Aretha Franklin sang "Respect" on this float.
Whoa!
Wow. What a weird float for them to choose. Like, hey, get on the shoe.
Do you think her people had any choice in that? It was like, yeah, no, Aretha will not. No, we are.
Wow.
What was
Veto.
Yeah.
I prefer to think she was like, I'm only doing it on this float.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right. We need to raise awareness for this woman.
Respect for the shoe. Nothing but respect for the shoe.
Yeah, back in 67, she was just the woman in a shoe.
All right.
Oh, all right. No
Are
age.
there any more green characters? Let's find out. Caitlin, you're up.
I didn't even realize I was drafting green people.
It's
that's
on.
how wicked I am.
I love it.
So I think I'm going to choose my running back, and that is going to be someone who can really move. He's got an attitude, and he's the fastest thing alive, Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact, sometimes the lyrics to that cartoon get stuck in my head, and I don't know why, and they won't leave. Do you remember that cartoon from like 1995? Anyone?
Why don't you sing it a portion of the lyrics for the audience?
Sure. Sonic, he can really move. Sonic, he's got an attitude. Sonic, he's the fastest thing alive. Ring any bells?
There's the evidence.
No.
The evidence is in the theme song. He's the fastest thing alive.
Yeah. Look at him too. He comes ready to play.
Yeah. Didn't he injure someone as well? Didn't someone say that?
I believe there was.
And he knocked down a lamppost, which hurt a little girl and an off-duty police officer.
All right. So I only
love
bring
that.
it up. I only bring it up to say he means business. You know, like, get out of the way.
I'm with it. That makes me like him more.
Yeah.
And that was 1993. So he's, been causing that kind of trouble for a while too.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
And
It wasn't an
we're
accident.
keeping it in that side of the color palette, which is important.
Yeah. Some
Diversify the squad here.
All right,
All
Joe.
right.
Whew, okay. I'm doing this a little bit, maybe in a non-traditional order. I don't know, but I'm going with kicker, because this kicker is like, again, a set of secret weapons or a weapon from a larger group of weapons. And the kicker that I'm choosing are the Radio City Music Hall Rockettes.
That is such a good pick. That is perfect.
There simply is nothing to say here. When you look at these women, they have this by far the strongest legs in the league. They all kind of look alike in terms of they have a height restriction, so you can kind of sub one in for the other if somebody's not feeling it. They are used to nonsense. They come in, they have dealt with all sorts of junk throughout their experience, and so look at them, look at them.
They've got discipline. They're
a ton of discipline. Again, like completely cool as a cucumber, coming in at the last second to make that kick, make the game. So I'm pretty confident. I wanted to be sure they got on the team, and they're solid.
They're limber. Those ladies are limber.
Very limber.
Cut it over, Matt. I got some kicks up for you. Look at this. Oh, wait. It went away.
That's amazing.
Perfect form.
I mean, kickers and punchers, they're told, hey, same motion every time, keep it consistent, and no one does it better than the Rockettes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that was genius.
All right, Jess, back on the turn here.
Woo, all right.
Halfway through the draft.
The time to draft ratio is not in our favor right now, but
It's not.
we'll have a little less.
Okay, I'm going to go fast then, and I'm choosing at running back a very specific person, specific balloon, and that is Pikachu and his Pokeball.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm choosing Pikachu and his Pokeball because this guy has no fumble potential. There are no turnovers possible. He literally has got the ball with him. So he is just a workhorse. He carries the ball unbelievably close to him. Pikachu's quick. He's got those, again, shifty little eyes. Look at him. He's got the ball.
Oh, wow, look at him go.
What else can you ask for?
He looks like he's running.
Look at, he seems to be missing fingers on his left hand, but that's okay. It makes it more aerodynamic. I'm taking Pikachu.
You can learn the moves Quick Attack and Swift. Both help.
Both help. Yes.
All right, Caitlin.
All right, I'm going to go with a tight end, and I chose Dora the Explorer.
Ooh,
wow.
She's curious. She's intelligent. She's elusive. She's bilingual. I'm sure that's helpful in any profession, including football. She's a tight end is considered a hybrid player, according to Wikipedia. So I feel like Dora she's smart, she's capable, she's strong. Look at her. Dora will, she's not going to give up. She's tough.
She is 10 years old.
Yeah, is there any concern there?
She's young, She's not going to get a career-ending injury at 10. The bones are still growing. The muscles are still
That's
developmentally.
Yeah.
That's a good
she's mature. Yeah, but she's mature, for a 10-year-old.
I like
smart.
that she's elusive, she's going to be able to hide in places other people couldn't.
Exactly. She's got a monkey, right? Doesn't she have a little monkey friend?
Yeah, I think so.
That raises a point. Are you concerned about a potential swiper coming in and kind of taking the ball from her?
I think she's so tiny. She can kind of just like run in between, I feel like she can get away.
Okay.
I believe her monkey is named Boots, which doesn't fare well for his catching ability.
Oh, from the chat, does she need a map to find the red zone?
Oh, that's a great point.
That's a good burn.
Wow. Wow.
Hey, north-south runner. That's what we want.
Oh, what about east-west?
Well, she has the map.
I don't even know what the red zone is. Put that out there.
Okay.
All right. It's time for me to go with a quarterback. And I'm going to go all the way back to 1941.
Jeez.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited about this pick, and I know you're all going to hate it. Or at least will, I believe. I'm going to draft Hugo the football hero.
Look, the patriarch dreams out of him.
He's a rubber balloon made out of donated rubber from the U.S. military from World War II.
Wait, can I just
what he is?
Just to say, if it's 1941, the war is going strong, and they need all the rubber they can get. Anyway, go on.
And they made that.
Well, they didn't have a lot of rubber.
Yeah, we had plenty. Look at he's 75 feet tall. A tall quarterback gives you a height advantage behind the line. It says that he was paired up with similar Charlie Brown, a similar balloon Charlie Brown. He was paired up with a novelty football balloon.
Another white man.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Hey, I already drafted a green man, okay, and a woman. I'm not worried about that. Nor am I worried about him leading the team because his name is literally the football hero.
A really good point from the chat saying they're all 75 feet tall because they're parade floats and balloons. So you should be able to use that as an advantage.
Wow.
Well, nobody else has brought it up.
Can we go back to the picture? I want to admire his muscles again and note the odd direction his knees are bending in.
Close up of that face, because man, that
that is upsetting.
Talk about dead eyes.
Hey, look at this is back. Hey, he's wearing a leather football helmet. Okay, back in the good old days of football when people used to rough each other up and not worry about it.
Okay.
Also, he's taking a light dose to the nuts.
Have some respect, Small Lebowski. Looks like Joe Burrow's knee.
Too soon.
Come on.
Jess is wearing a Bengals jersey.
Listen, I don't even think the forward pass had been invented in 1941.
You know what? That might be the best critique of this pick yet. All right. Well, you can draft 2 in a row.
Okay. You know what that is.
Yeah. That's Small Lebowski. We can hear you through the chat.
Yeah, the trouble in the chat. We can hear laughing in the background. Okay.
We have 13 minutes for 2 1/4 rounds.
2 1/4 rounds. We've had way too much fun with this job. Okay, so I'll be quick. I'm gonna reach for my first defense. I am gonna take the wind.
Stupid. I hate it.
Wow.
As I look out across a lot of floats and a lot of balloons, what's their natural weakness? That's right. Mother Nature, the wind that can blow it, ruin it, throw it into lampposts, put women in comas, whatever you want to say.
Boo. All right. Well, I challenge you to send me a picture of the wind for your Twitter post later.
I'm going to send you a picture of a balloon that's been destroyed because of the wind.
Mm.
Eh,
Okay, that's
fair.
decent. Yeah. Okay. You're up again.
You're all just jealous that you didn't think of it.
Yes.
Well, the wind also propels all of the floats.
That's not true. The people with the ropes that are walking propel the float.
I am.
What do you think? Every parade is powered by a backflip?
It's all downwind.
Yeah, they've been really fortunate, like 99 years in a row, to have a perfect 7-mile-an-hour wind going directly the front of the parade. Okay.
All right, well, go ahead. Jeff, again, we're running out of time here. We have 10 minutes.
I'm taking Charlie Brown. And I know
That's not right.
I know
He literally misses the ball.
I know what you're thinking. He always misses the ball. He never gets to kick it. Here's the thing. I'm not drafting Lucy. All right. They're going to be able to hold the football down. Why do you think he's always picked as kicker? Because he's obviously a great kicker off screen.
No.
In there.
No.
He has no confidence.
He has so much confidence. Every time he goes in, he thinks he's going to kick it again.
Yeah, Will, I was going to choose Charlie Brown for the kicker because he practices so much and he still believes in himself.
And has yet to kick a field goal.
You don't know that. You just know what we've seen on camera.
Yeah,
Show
take
me a
Lucy
video.
out of the equation, right? Like Will
Thank you,
saying, take
Caitlin.
Lucy out. What do we got? He practices all the time, apparently.
Well, I want you to tell that to NFL scouts. Be like, you don't know my guy doesn't run a 4.40 when he's not at the combine.
Anthony, it's your pick.
All right. Wide receiver, I'm going Super Grover.
What?
Oh, that's good. That's really
That's
good.
great.
Thank you. I had to make up for Hugo.
Ah,
Let me see if I can find a pick of Super Grover real quick.
man.
I'm never gonna, have a quarrel with a Muppet. I'm very
I got
Muppet
it.
forward.
Look at him.
Wow.
Here he is.
He's
He's
already
already got a helmet on.
Yeah.
He can fly. He's got a cape. He's cute. He's adorable. Who wants to tackle him?
Yeah.
He can run routes near. He can run routes far. Stud wide receiver.
All right, Caitlin.
All right. For my entire defense, I'm going with Barney because Barney is a killer. An actor. What more do you need?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, Matt. Can you bring up my screen? Let me give you an example of why my defense is so effective. Oh, no. There's your defense lying in tatters on the street.
Oh, but that will just fuel his rage to come back and kill again.
Oh,
No, but seriously.
that's
Look at
really
this.
stabbed to death, right? Because the wind came up and he got out of control and they stabbed him.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes you have to stab Barney.
Yeah,
to be
stabbed
fair.
Brown.
Will, the wind doesn't actually harm any of the balloons. It's just surrounding debris. You're just gonna kind of move them around a little bit.
That's right.
All right, Jess, you're the clock. These are your last two picks here.
Okay, let's go picks. Here we go. First one, save an important one for the end. Quarterback. We need a leader in the locker room. We need somebody who's elusive in the pocket, somebody who's good at going through progressions, and I'm choosing Bob the Builder.
Wow.
This is a player who's literally holding the playbook. The guy's carrying the hammer. He's building up that throwing arm. He has a high accuracy and completion percentage. Really, really technically strong, makes a minimum amount of mistakes. He's been around for a while, but he's kind of the Tom Brady of quarterbacks looking for that next championship ring. I think I got a good one here.
Yeah.
That's all. Let me see if I can find a photo real quick. There you go.
He's a real game. Yeah.
He's got a bulldozer to protect him.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
huge.
Yeah, and that bulldozer is taking out a live cat, it looks like.
Yeah, he has no remorse. That's
Oh
important.
my God. Cold-blooded.
That's worrisome for my running back. An actual life cat.
And I know we're on the clock here. Do you want me to take my last?
Yeah, let's do your defense.
Right. This has been changing throughout the draft tonight, but for defense, I am going with the final float in the parade, the most important float, Santa and his crew.
Oh, nice.
And this is again, a heart pick because we all know that there's only one true Santa, and it's the Santa in the Macy's parade. When I was a kid, I truly believed that this was the real Santa. You can't argue with Santa. That line is impenetrable. You see Mrs. Santa on that float, all the reindeer, everything you need. You are not going up against that.
Mrs. Santa.
Mrs. Santa is scarier than Santa.
Mrs. Santa.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I've got the reindeer. Oh, they'll stab you. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge float. Look at him. I'm gonna just keep saying, look at him. That star in the back. I mean, nobody's running into those antlers.
Yeah. That's a good.
That's good.
All right, Caitlin, let's finish off your team too.
All right. So for my kicker, I am choosing Big Bird because he tries really hard. And I believe that he will do his best every time.
Caitlin,
He might be awkward and strange, but he's also another Muppet, so I have a soft spot for all Muppets.
I agree. I think this is a far better pick than Charlie Brown.
Agreed.
I mean, just look at those legs, honestly.
Your color story, Caitlin, look at this. It's green.
Green,
very blue, very yellow.
Purple. Wow.
Primary colors, Caitlin.
Purple, yellow.
Wow.
That's good. That's good.
I had no idea.
Ready to play.
Does he have a suit? Is that a tie? Oh no, that's a Stanford parade. Get that out of here.
Boo.
Okay, Anthony.
Okay. So now I need a defense here. My defense, I am gonna go controversial pick. I'm gonna go with Paddington Bear because because destruction follows this boy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched the movies, Will, but everywhere he goes,
definitely. But why don't you just remind me?
He absolutely wrecks everything around him. If we had more time in this draft, I would show you videos of Paddington absolutely destroying. I was going to say destroying bathrooms, destroying
That's been
all rooms in the house, wreaking havoc in a prison.
Why was he in prison?
Watch Paddington 2 and find out.
Hold on, I haven't even seen Paddington 1 yet. I don't want to miss anything.
Will,
That's when he does all his crimes.
I think you're
That's right.
describing Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh boy, let's hope not.
Oh, I should have taken him as QB. All right, Will, you're tight
Okay.
end.
Closing it out, I'm going to go for the superior bear. At tight end, I'm going to take Smokey the Bear.
Oh, this is
Mhm.
a hunky Smokey too.
Yeah, let's bring up my screen where I've got the exact Smokey the Bear I want up. That's right. Barrel-chested, shirt off, the big bear mitts to catch the ball. He's basically like Gronk with a fun hat and, what's that? As a weapon, a shovel for putting out fire.
Oh, it's a shovel.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you want to try and tackle him, you whack you with the shovel, and then he keeps going.
That's a solid
Excellent.
pick, Will.
Yeah, I can't argue with
All right,
that.
Will, if you want to round out your team or give us a recap.
Yeah, but let's flip over to Anthony's screen so I can actually see what it is. Okay. For Pie Formation, coached by producer Brad Lockman, we've got a QB, Astronaut Snoopy. He's a classic. At wide receiver, we have Spider-Man. He's going to catch everything with his spider webs. At running back, we have the Central Park Lion from the original Macy's Day Parade. At defense, we've got the Wind, who's going to destroy all of the balloons and floats of my opponents. At kicker, we've got Charlie Brown, but no Lucy. That's the key. Someone that's actually going to hold the football for him. And at tight end, we've basically got the Gronk of the parade, which is Smokey the Bear.
Excellent. Caitlin.
All right, for Marching Band Madness, we've got our coach, Tom Turkey. He's ready to rock. We've got our QB, Kermit, a born leader, wide receiver, Grinch. He's sneaky. He's going to get you. What is RB? Oh, running back. Sonic the Hedgehog is fast. Tight end, Dora is exploring. Defense, Barney maybe got ripped to shreds, but we will build him back better, and he's filled with rage and the thirst for blood. And kicker is Big Bird because he's earnest and he tries hard.
Solid.
Excellent. Jess?
All right. For the Heisman Trophy winners, coached by the one and only King Al Roker. At wide receiver, we have Bart Simpson. He's already in formation. He's fast on a skateboard, and he's a little bit of a bad boy on this team. Tight end, doesn't get better than her future, is Stemsational Float. Super tall, sneak attack, robotic arm, unbelievable. Kicker, they've been practicing forever. They're ready for this role. Rockettes, running back, Pikachu and his ball, because the ball is literally with the Pikachu, so you can't get better than that. We've got QB, Bob the Builder. He's carrying the playbook, and he's sort of the solid, strong guy you want leading your team. And then our defensive line is Santa Claus, his pokey reindeer, his wife, Miss Claus, everybody who's ready just to fight on that final float.
Wonderful. And I, with Winner Turkey Dinner, my coach is Boss Baby. My running back is the untackleable Weeble. Tight end, I have the Jolly Green Giant. My kicker is the old woman who lived in a shoe. My quarterback is Hugo, the football hero. Probably should have gone with Popeye. My wide receiver is Super Grover, and my defense is the troublemaking Paddington Bear.
Oof.
And that concludes the draft.
Yeah, we are running out of time. So I want to take this opportunity to thank Caitlin and Jess so much for being with us. Thank you all so much. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. Thanks to 2MB.
All right. As always, you can vote on your favorite team over at 2MB on Twitter. And stay tuned. Up next, we have Interesting Points with Josh Poirier, where they're going to be talking about meat.
Hell yeah. We've been boy detectives. I wish we had a catchphrase.
I was roommates with Charlie Brooker, creator and head writer of Black Mirror, for about a year, from December 2002 to December 2003. What was it like? The word that immediately comes to mind is difficult. You can imagine what it's like living with somebody like Charlie. It's just, his mind is different. He doesn't have a real trust of technology. I mean, it's obviously evidenced by his work.
God damn you. God damn you. You stare at me with your black eyes. Your cold, senseless, electronic, feelingless black heart. And laugh. Don't you beep at me, goddamn you. Stop beeping at me. Stop it. Stop beeping. Stop beeping.
Mind if I,
Stop beeping.
sorry, you
Stop
mind if I use the microwave now? I think Halloween 2002 was definitely the most interesting night with Charlie.
Woo! Halloween 2002. Robots!
You know, I tried to connect with him. I did. I really honestly put forth a good effort. You know, in the rare times he would come out of his room. So, you do anything fun this weekend, Charlie? Or?
Yes. I disemboweled an ATM machine.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, sometimes you'd think you were alone, and you would just feel him.
There will be no MySpace in my space.
Eventually, I just kind of snapped. I couldn't take it anymore. I thought, what would Charlie hate the most? What would really rile him up? What would get him to leave me alone? Finally, so I went online and I bought a bunch of computer parts, and I put him in his bed. He wasn't happy.
White Christmas!
And that's the last I saw of him. The next day, he was just gone. It's crazy. I mean, his show is so popular now. It's like, I don't think anyone knows the real Charlie Brooker. You know? Everyone loves this show, and nobody realized there's a madman behind that television show.
Black Mirror. Black Mirror. Black Mirror. Black Mirror. Black Mirror.
Dern, Laura Dern, Laura Dern, 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 Laura Dern, Laura Dern, Laura Dern, 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 Laura Dern.
Hello. My name's Josh Boyer. This is Interesting Points. This show developed about 7 years ago. Been running it ever since. It's kind of a show about getting to know people, talking to people, just kind of shooting the shit, basically. And tonight's show is about how to be a vegan. Wait, no, it's not. It's about meat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on my guest right now. We're just going to kind of talk about meat for a while and then talk about some other stuff. So I'm going to bring on my first guest now. Teresa Rhodes. How you doing, Teresa?
Hey, Josh, I almost hung up. I mean, I'm sorry. If you were to trick me, I consider you to be a good friend, even though we're not super close anymore because the post separate us. But if you'd done that to me, I mean, I don't know if our friendship could have survived
I'm
that.
sorry.
No, we can move on.
John Serpico also looks really mad at me.
Furious all the time about something or other. Thank you for having me back.
How's it going, Joe?
Teresa Rose, good to see you.
You too, John.
Next up, we got Danielle Andruskovic. How you doing, Danielle?
Oh, I'm good. I'm full of steak, so I'm good.
Good. And last guest is Ben Scaria. How you doing, Ben?
Hey, I'm doing better now that I know I'm not trying to get turned into a vegan.
Yeah, that.
I gotta go.
This entire show was an intervention for all of you.
My doctor would probably say thank you, but
I mean, I didn't get to 300 pounds myself by eating vegetables. So we're going to talk about meat for a while. I'm just going to throw it to you guys. Teresa, tell us about meat.
Well, I did enjoy our group chat earlier, and it's fun, I think, to get together a group of people, like-minded people who didn't find it too ridiculous other than the price, and that Danielle, did you say I paid for the bone, I think is what you said, on my tomahawk?
I mean, that's ultimately what you're paying for. I mean, it's badass.
A French
but that's what you're paying for.
A French bone. So it's kind of like, I figure, like sex work, right? Not the first time I've paid for a bone, maybe, but maybe it.
I mean, bone on meat does, besides being the coolest thing to see, right? I do feel like it has two big things going for it. One, it does impart a little bit of flavor being on the bone, but two, it's impossible to overcook a piece of meat on the bone. I mean, you really have to do it, but like you get a much wider window. There's really some leniency because of the tenderness that the juiciness that's coming in from the bone.
Yeah,
that's something I've definitely done before, though. So I mean, it's
possible. So you're saying it's possible.
It pretty much takes ignoring it for a couple hours.
Hours.
Really, the only way to overcook a bone-in steak is if you forget you're cooking a bone-in steak. So you take a road trip, you leave town.
It was actually ribs. It was beef ribs. I didn't have enough moisture in the pan, so it ended up charring everything, which was not pleasant.
Yeah. The Ben's points about like the two things that the boneads are spot on. The bonus third thing for me is presentation. Like it just there's something primal about just seeing a bone on there, like a tomahawk chop or something, because you start to get the map together in your head of where in the animal this originally was from. It kind of connects you to your food a little more. It just looks great. I love any steakhouse where like an inch or two of bone is hanging over the edge of the oval plate. That's how you know you're getting the good stuff.
The whole connecting to
an inch or two of bone, and mine was what? I think a good 6 or 8 there. So I'm just saying, John.
You had like a full tomahawk.
That was
the
a
kind of steak that, like, I'll cook on a grill and not use anything other than the bone to cook it, flipping it back and forth, and then I'll just pick it up and walk around and eat it. I mean, that's like a cotton candy cut.
It's like a Renaissance fair. Like that's what they should have instead of a turkey leg. They should just you should be able to get a giant tomahawk.
You eat that and then you punch a saber-toothed tiger in the face.
Well, I don't want to lie. Like I think I mentioned, I did. Although this 3-pound tomahawk was my birthday present to myself, I am very generous, and I did share it with my husband. And watching him, because he'll often take watching him just kind of gnaw on the bone. I'm like, stop it! It's not time for foreplay yet.
The whole connecting to the animal where it came from. Has anybody ever seen The F Word with Gordon Ramsay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're bad foodies.
Well, the show. It was a great show. It was a lot of fun. But one of the things that he did every season was he would raise an animal at his house.
Oh, yeah, with his daughters,
so that his kids would be able to see where the food came from, and he'd make his kids watch the slaughter.
Hey, meet your meat.
I don't know if I love or hate that. Like I genuinely can't decide.
I have super strong but as yet undefined feelings about this information.
I feel a way. I don't know what the way is, but I feel it.
I think it's fine as long as he doesn't like put the stun gun in the kid's hand and be like, "It's time for you to do it," right?
There was one season where they raised lambs, which was actually kind of amazing because the lambs ended up getting sick, so they couldn't be slaughtered. And you were like, oh my God, the lambs got saved. So I don't know. I myself started crying when I was like, the lambs got saved. And then they just brought 2 other lambs in and killed them.
So, I mean, I guess so long as this isn't like theater of suffering where like you're watching kids, like if the whole thing is set up as, I, your father, Gordon Ramsay, are preparing you to really understand food. And like, this is going to be sad, but it doesn't have to be sad. Like, if he lays it out like that from the beginning and we know that this is educational, I'm good with it. But also, I've seen Gordon Ramsay yell at grown adults. So I don't know how this is.
Does it change your opinion if you find out that they named them?
It does, actually. That they're tugging at heartstrings. Don't name your food. Give them names so you can keep track of them when they're outside grazing. Don't name them so that you develop an emotional connection.
So we had family friends from Wisconsin, and they used to tell a story about they used to raise cattle and pigs and all sorts of meat, and they would at first they would name them, and then they would get very attached to them. So finally, their dad one time was like, "The next litter, we're not naming them at all. We're just giving them numbers. This is our business. You can't become attached." And it didn't work, right? You would think that it doesn't work, but you're still spending so much time with them that they were like number 14. You know?
I would die for you, number 14.
Yeah, it becomes the name anyway.
L, like 11 is L. Do they, like
that's like a precursor to like a deli counter, right? So you're just calling out
number 14.
Or a special in a menu.
Yeah. That's all I think about. And now that we've had this discussion, I think I'm in on Gordon Ramsay slaughtering those animals and kids. That doesn't bother me anymore like it did initially.
There's the episode of Parks and Rec where Ron Swanson, the icon of all meat eating,
Sure.
Wanted everyone. He ran the Pawnee government barbecue, and he literally just wanted to barbecue, and he brought out a pig named Tom. You guys, I'm sure everyone saw that episode. But then
everybody got mad.
Yeah, and the helicopter's like, well, you can't do that, whatever. There's this whole thing. But then later he did bring Tom into the office, and everyone was like, "Oh, Tom!" And then they ate it anyway. So I think it's always one of those things. Like pigs are as intelligent as dogs and as loyal, but we eat them. So it's really just one of those things where it just sort of happens to be like, it's like the difference. What's the difference between a flower and a weed, right? Judgment. So
it's the delicious intelligence.
Very delicious, especially yes.
I completely forgot about this until now while we're having this conversation. When I was like 11, I was in Delaware for a softball tournament, and where we would practice would be in like some guy had like a softball field like on his farm. We were there for like a all-star like state championship thing. If you win in Delaware, then you go to Portland, Oregon. We didn't win in Delaware, but anyways, we went to Delaware, and on this farm they had the big cages that had all these chickens in it, but like small chickens, like not full-size chickens, but not like just born chicks.
Yep.
And like they let us like walk in there and like pet them and like literally hundreds. And then we went and practiced, and then 2 hours later they fed us just fried chicken wings from half of these chickens that they had let us play with earlier. And like I remember in that moment I was like, wait, were these the ones that were outside? They're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, they're so good.
That's because they were happy when they got slaughtered. They had just played with children. It's part of the whole.
This one tastes like we had a shared memory of good times.
But it's true. I mean, it's funny. They say, right? It's of course it's humane to kill an animal as quickly and painlessly as possible, but also from a taste perspective, you want to kill an animal as quickly and painlessly as possible, because if you hurt an animal, all of a sudden it injects all of its like crazy I'm dying things into its muscles, right? It releases a bunch of endorphins, and it basically spoils the meat. It's a reason why they want to do it very quickly, besides it being humane. It's why you want to kill a deer with one shot. It's why the cows, they do it with one thing behind the ear. Because any time an animal is in pain, it's either going to tighten up all those muscles, it's going to do that, and it's actually going to affect the quality of the meat.
Is that why the government killed Epstein as quickly as they did?
He's so tender. Let me just tell you.
But Ben, that's why Kobe's so good, right? Because it's like what they like massage it all the time.
Yeah, it's like drinking like beer and like oats, like that have been and milk baths and stuff. They take ridiculous care of their.
That's the way I want to go.
Quite frankly, yeah. If you spend 30 years of my life bathing me in milk, you can do anything to me afterwards, I suppose.
Oh my god, I wonder if that's like a Kobe beef fetish. I like that.
We're not running this race for the end. We're running this race for the race. And if we spend our lives getting, like drinking Japanese beer and getting like mid-afternoon massages, it's okay if I'm food at the end. That's all right. We've lived, damn it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I sometimes try to justify, besides the fact that it's like delicious and whatever it is, I justify my place on the food chain by saying I am silly to think that I'm the pinnacle of forever. So eventually something's going to come along and has before that ate me. Now I happen to be up here, so I should enjoy it as long as I can because in a second, if a pig could eat me, they would. They do. They eat dead bodies all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's such a weird fact, but they do. Maybe not all the time, but they certainly eat dead bodies. They eat everything, which is
everything. Yeah,
a thing I learned from watching Criminal Minds.
I learned it from the movie Hannibal, or whichever one of the Hannibal movies they.
The world is a big enough place that there is a pig eating a human being right now.
The stats on that every couple seconds.
Yeah, what if the unexpected but high-ranking causes of death is just being slowly eaten by a pig? It's like right below heart disease.
COVID-19, then being eaten by
a pig.
Yeah, followed immediately by heart attack.
Heart attack. Then eaten by a deer.
Oh, this took a turn. I think it was my fault.
It
did.
Probably.
John, what about you and meat?
Sure. So, as is the tradition, when I come on interesting points. By the way, Josh, as always, thanks for having me. I overly researched something to talk about, and what I wanted to talk about for a couple of minutes was, what a lot of people think of when they think of meat is they think of steakhouses. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of a steakhouse and kind of how it gets to where it is. And steakhouses kind of evolved from chop houses, which were, back a couple hundred years ago, if you were not cooking food yourself, odds are you were eating it at like a bar or a tavern. And kind of branching off from that tradition of like bars and taverns and public houses were chop houses, where they would butcher an animal and serve it up, and you were paying for just a chop of the animal. And then those evolved into steakhouses. And what's interesting is, a lot of folks, when they hear steakhouse, they think of like a super fancy place. But traditional steakhouses really do run the gamut from very casual. A good example would be like Cattleman's Steakhouse in Oklahoma City. If you ever like look it up on YouTube, it's the kind of place that'll seat 500 people, and every one of those people will be eating the same quality of like aged bone-in ribeye as you can get at, say, Peter Luger's in New York City or Grill 23 in Boston or anything like that. And so the modern steakhouse, there's this whole big spectrum of quality, but you're gonna get great meat everywhere. The difference in price is really justified by the experience you have there. Like if you go to Cattleman's, you're going to wear a pair of jeans, you're going to sit on like a hard wooden bench, you're going to eat a great meal, at a long table, and you're going to leave. But if you go to, say, the Old Homestead, which is actually the oldest continually operating steakhouse, it's so good. It's good because it's been around for 150 years and they haven't figured out. The difference in their $120 ribeye and Cattleman's $28 ribeye is the fact that you're eating it off a white tablecloth, and the person that's serving you is 80 years old and has been doing it for 60 years.
I'm sorry, 120, John? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but my jaw is like 120, seriously?
Yeah. And the difference in quality is not huge because most of the bone-in steaks you're going to eat at any kind of restaurant are going to be dry-aged. Some of them are wet-aged, but they're usually dry-aged. Mm-hmm. And if you take a good cut of meat and dry-age it, it's just going to be delicious no matter what you pay. But, the Old Homestead, you're also at the Old Homestead or places like that. You're paying for, the quality of the experience, the fancy plates, all that stuff. But there's also, a little bit of that kind of fun retail therapy-ish aspect of like, I want to spend like, a month's rent. Not everyone's saying that, but you know what I mean. Like, there's something really cool about having one of those like once in a lifetime meals. Actually, the Old Homestead made news a few years ago because for 100 of their 150 years, 130 years they were in their same location, and they finally opened a second location in, of all places, the Borgata Hotel in Atlantic City. And I've mercifully been to both. I only paid for one of them, but I've been to both. And the quality of the steak in both places, the quality of the service was equal. I think the prices are slightly less in Atlantic City, but yeah. So that's just kind of a general survey of steakhouses, what you're paying for, and where they came from.
Thank you.
Love that.
That was great. $120 for a steak, though. My jaw kind of hit the floor, too.
Yeah, I'm not over it. Can we talk about this? I might need to go to therapy.
Yeah, it's so you're going to pay like the old adage I say is the difference between a $10 steak and a $30 steak is really big. The difference between a $30 steak and a $100 steak is not that big.
It's the same thing with most luxury items, right? Like I was, this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's the same idea. When I was shopping for speakers, I was talking to somebody who was talking to me about speakers, and they were like, look, you're going to be able to tell the difference between a shitty pair of speakers and a $300 pair of speakers. They looked at me and they were just like, honestly, you, with the music you're listening to, aren't going to be able to tell the difference between a $300 speaker and a $1,000 pair of speakers to the point where it matters for you. You might be able to every now and then sort of hear how crisp it, but like they said, for what you're doing, what you're listening to, you don't need that. And I sort of feel like it's the same thing for most things, right? There's a big jump between nothing and good, and then the jump between good and amazing is for the aficionados only.
Yeah, I mean, I used to work in a liquor store where we sold, really old aged scotch and stuff like that. And I always wondered if like there was a real difference between like a 10-year-old scotch or like a 15-year-old scotch, or if it was just your brain telling you that it was because you paid $150 more for this scotch that it's got to taste different and taste better.
They've done research actually to that exact point that like I think they did it specifically with wines, but yeah, like there's actually studies been done where they tell you this is like, whatever, super aged or whatever makes it good, and you do enjoy it more. And what's really interesting on that same note, John, I don't know if you came across this in your research, but I believe I've read in the past that most people, sort of your average American, if you will sort of fry up a hamburger at home or maybe even grill up a hamburger at home, but then they go out for steak. And personally, over the years, I can't even tell you the last time that I made a hamburger at home. For me, that's because of the major jacking up in price, for example, the only time I've had a tomahawk out in public, it was $80, I think $85. And then, of course, you got to take into account tax and tip and everything, right? And then when I bought one at home, it was, I think it was $39 at Whole Foods. So that to me, that's at least that's 100% markup, I believe. I'm bad at math, but and so that to me has always made it. And I think people get in their heads, like, oh my God, cooking steak, it's so hard. When really it's just like, Danielle, I'm actually looking forward to you talking about cast iron. It's really just like season it and flip it, right? I mean, so for me, I very rarely eat hamburger at home, all the accoutrements and everything too, but steak at home for me, I guess I'm weird.
I think that's
you're dead on.
Yeah,
you're absolutely dead on. If you're not scared of cooking the steak, and I totally get people that are scared by the kitchen, and cast irons have to be seasoned, and it's a whole song and dance. But if you have some relatively basic kitchen skills, if you know how to season a cast iron pan, and you have a meat thermometer, you are, the markup is different. Like, you're right. Like, you're going to spend $40 at home cooking and eating that steak versus $100 out. With a burger, to get all the ingredients, to get a head of lettuce to just use one leaf, to get a whole onion to use one slice, you might as well go and eat $5 worth of ingredients for $15 instead of eating $40 worth of ingredients for $100.
Well,
like that's just good sense.
Because with burger, especially burger that you're buying at home, unless you're, buying brisket and short rib yourself and grinding it and making a good burger, you're getting chuck, which is a pretty shitty meat for the most part. I'll talk a little bit later about some better parts of the chuck, but like for the most part, chuck is not.
I love this show.
What you want for your burgers, right? So I agree with you 100%. I'll never eat a burger at home because I'll go out to a restaurant and eat a burger there because they have really interesting cuts with their burgers. They're doing interesting things, stuff that I can't do at home.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the other thing too about going out, I mean, there's so many ways you can cook a steak that people don't know about. I can't count the number of people I've taught how to cook a steak inside if they don't have a grill and if they don't have a cast iron, because there is another really easy way to cook it
Well,
I don't
still
use
gets-
a cast iron personally. I'll just say it right now. I
Yeah,
use a
you don't need it.
duty iron pan. Like that's all you need. Just a
If
heavy
you-
bottom
yeah,
pan.
if-
That's all.
You don't need it. But I mean, one of the things I do like about going out for steak is it's an experience. I have some steak groups, I guess. And John and Ben are a part of 2 of I think the 4 that I have. And it's so like I have one group of meat people that just like to eat meat and like to eat food. They're not as into meat as John, Ben, and I are, but they have a respect for it, and so we call ourselves Meat Vault. And we go to Fogo de Chao. There are 4 of us, and we just talk shit about everybody while we eat a lot of meat. And we don't tell anybody about any of the things that we're saying, which is why it's called Meat Vault. And then I have a fancy steak group, which is which I haven't done in a while. It's from when in my early 20s, I played a lot of poker, like a lot of poker. And we would just get really dressed up once a year, like super fancy, and go to like Capitol Grill. And then I have a Meat, which is one of the groups that John and Ben are a part of, where, I mean, obviously we're not doing this now, but it was roughly every 6 months, we would get together with a group of people who would want to come eat steak with us. There's like 6 or 7 of us. I'd say half of us are really into meat. The other half aren't. So it's just really fun to be eating meat at like Grill 23 with people who appreciate it, but don't know how to appreciate it. With, people like Ben and John and myself. And then the last group, which is really just me, John, and Ben, is a steak crawl. And
Teresa, you'd appreciate the steak crawl.
Teresa.
Yeah, I don't live there anymore, Danielle.
I know.
Used to, but if I'm, when life picks it back up again, I would very much appreciate an invite if I'm worthy.
Yeah.
If we didn't yet have enough reasons to root for an efficacious vaccine, this is one more.
One more. But yeah, the steak crawl is probably my favorite because we'll make reservations at least 2 steakhouses. We'll go to the first one. We'll order a couple of steaks and a couple of sides and split them. And we'll each get a type of whiskey along with that.
Hell yeah.
And then we'll walk to the next steakhouse. And the mistake was that I didn't bring cigars last time.
We need cigars on the way to the next steakhouse.
And so we're going to smoke cigars on the way to the next place, order some more steaks to split, and some more sides.
That walk is so important. It
really is.
Important.
It really is important.
So important.
So before I talk to Danielle, I want to roll a video.
Yeah, do it. I'm
We
excited.
roll the video, Matt.
This video is going to be something.
This is just how I cook steak.
This will end up muted in the replays.
Can this be true? How can I put into words what I feel? My life was complete. I thought I was whole. Now do I feel like I'm losing control? Never thought that love could feel like this. When you change my world with just one kiss. How can it be that right here with you, there's an angel, it's a miracle. Your love is your soul is like a secret that never could keep. When I look into your ribeye, know that I have to spend a little more time on you. You are the one that's the
And it continues.
Oh, just wait.
They broke the mold when you came in this world. I'm so sorry, okay? I love you. I need you to know how much I love you, okay?
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's just replaying now.
That's a beautiful sizzle that you got there.
Oh, it was so good.
And I was rewarded.
That was it was so good. So that's what I made for dinner tonight. That's just I mean, I assume everybody listens to God Must Have Spent a Little More Time on You by NSYNC whenever you're cooking a steak.
Oh,
It
completely.
just doesn't seem right not to do that.
Well, steak doesn't get flavor from not in sync. Like you turn on in sync, you get the compound butter on there, you drop it, you hear the sizzle.
Strangely,
if you skip any step, it's not good.
Strangely, Backstreet Boys do not work.
Yep.
No, it toughens up the meat because the meat gets scared and it releases all those chemicals.
Yeah.
Not as smooth.
Dude.
I
Oh man.
have to look it up. But I wanted to mention if you're ever out here in LA again when we can travel, and I'd be more than happy to take any of y'all here. It's a famous 70s steakhouse. It appears in a bunch of movies called the Dresden, and it's a classic. Like they've retained everything from the 70s. When you walk in there, it's quite the experience just to walk in. Because like we were talking about like experience of the steakhouses, right? And this is the first and only time I've had to look it up too. And I think I'm gonna say it right. I took 4 years of French, but first and only time I had a Chateaubriand. Yeah, which was, that is that whole thing. You get something like that, and yeah, you feel like you're bouging, right? You feel like you're hashtag treat yourself, right? Like that's. I think that is quite an experience. But then I guess it's always my thing where I do that, and then I'm like, I kind of forgot this one, but normally I do that. I go to the restaurant, and then I think I can do this at home, and then
I'll tell you, when I was in Texas a couple of years ago, I actually saved someone's life that I worked with, because we were in Austin, Texas, and we were at a steak restaurant in Austin, Texas, and the waiter went around asking for what everybody was ordering. He ordered a steak well done.
Oh,
and I said to him, I said, no. He doesn't want it well done. He wants it medium at the least. And he doesn't want ketchup on the side. And I think I saved his life because literally the waiter looked at him like he was going to kill him.
It makes me sad. It genuinely makes me sad. People who are just like, oh, I don't like steak, and I find out they've only ever eaten it well done because that's the way like their parents or whatever cooked it for them. Like I feel genuine sadness for people who have only ever had well done steak.
It's why I've never trusted Trump.
I paraphrased the late Anthony Bourdain, who thanks people for eating well-done steaks because it gets rid of the disgusting steak that he's had in the back of the refrigerator at work that they don't know what to do with. Right? It's a couple weeks old. It was a shitty cut, and they don't know what to do. And they're like, well, this guy's not going to know the difference one way or the other. So Bourdain has always said that. He's like, I love when people order well-done steaks because it allows me to get rid of the shitty meat that I have in my kitchen.
That was like in page 4 or 6 of one of his books. I forget which book it was.
Yeah.
And that's the trick is if you want a steak well done. Now that's the thing. Like George Washington crossed the Delaware to give us the right to just ruin food. Like if we want to do that, we can.
This is
like we held Bunker Hill so that we could just wreck shit and then eat it. But if you want to do
so we held Bunker Hill to put pineapple on a pizza?
Put pineapple on a pizza? Yeah. Hell yeah. Like we had a running battle from Lexington to Concord. So you could just get Spam and just put it in a calzone. But the thing is,
burger buns. Yeah.
Here's the thing. If you are getting a ribeye steak medium rare at the Capitol Grill, you're going to pay $60 for it. If you're getting a ribeye steak cooked to hockey puck, you're still paying $60 for it.
True.
So if you want your steak well done, which it is your God-given right to have it well done,
yeah, but you're
cook
dumb.
it at home. Cook it at home. Do it yourself.
Start at home. Yeah,
because Ben's right. Like you're not going to get their best stuff. They're going to give you the cut from the end, and they're going to butterfly it in half. And you might as well just do that yourself at home.
I mean, I know why. Like my stepfather always ate steak well done since he was a kid because the cuts of meat they had were horrible.
Yeah.
And they could never really trust the meat that they had from the Waltham supermarket. Yeah.
So I always like to say, if you're going to a very high-end and people, like John said, you can enjoy your steak however you want, including ultra. If you want it, I know some people like it cool in the center, right? And I'm like, okay, that works for some steak cuts for me, but I think a lot of steak cuts, you're not breaking down the fats that are in there at that temperature. It's kind of a waste. But hey, again, it's up to you. At a high-end steakhouse, the best words that you can say are however the chef wants to prepare that cut of meat.
Yeah.
Because the chef is going to know how to cook whatever steak they're putting on their menu. So it's like, and then, yes, they'll say however you want it. And you're like, great, great, great. How does the chef want it? How does the chef like the ribeye? How does the chef like the cap? How does the chef like the whatever? Because they're going to be different depending on what it is.
That's a really good piece of advice.
If you're having a cut for the first time, that's the best thing to do. And also, like, going to Fogo. So Danielle mentioned Fogo de Chao before. Fogo de Chao or any great Brazilian steakhouse, Brazilian churrascaria, is a great way to learn about steak all at once.
Yes, it is.
Like, literally, someone can walk up to you with a sword full of top sirloin.
Yes, meat on swords.
Yeah, meat on swords. And they'll ask you how you want it. And you can be like, actually, could you cut me like a medium and a rare? And you just try them both. Or you get 3 or 4 different cuts and just you give yourself a minute, you taste the different textures, and you do all those things. So it's a great way to learn. And let the chef be your guide, especially if you're having a particular thing for the first time. For me, that's how I learned how to like lamb. Is like I went out and maybe the first time I had lamb was in a steakhouse. I probably had lamb chops or something. And they asked me how I'd have it, and I said to the waiter, I don't know, how would you have it? It's like playing blackjack and asking the dealer,
exactly.
How would you play this?
Yeah, what are the rules? What does the book say?
Yeah, what's the book say on this? And then and if you want to change based on that, then at least you're doing it from an informed place.
And I really like that. And Josh, going back to what you were saying, were you saying it was your father, or was it your stepdad you were saying?
My stepfather, yeah.
Well, it's interesting, so I'm from Hingham, so we can trust the meat there. I hate
this was the 50s and 60s, so.
My mother though, we actually got you might think I'm just joking, for the show, but I want to let you guys know this is an actual real fight that we had, real talk, because I like to make a bone-in prime rib roast every Christmas, and I invited them in, and my mother liked her meat ruined, very, very well done, literally gray. So I knew this in advance. So of course I took, of course the ends cook more quickly. That's normal, right? So I cut off the ends of both, took the rest of the roast out to rest, and your lovely foil tent, right? Let that rest for a few minutes, and I put a smaller pan back into the oven with the 2 ends for her to eat. And I swear to God, by the way, this roast cost me, I think, $95 because it was like 6 or 7 bones, pretty big, giant thing of meat. Right? My mother, okay, I'm going to try to collect myself. She opened up the oven, took these pieces out, and she put them on a plate and microwaved them.
Oh.
I just cannot believe that she did that. We still have words about it, because I was going to cook it to her, doing as she asked and wanted, and I could not believe she did that, and I'm not over it, frankly. Again, more therapy, I guess I need. More years.
That's tough.
I don't like your mom.
I don't either in this respect. Agreed.
So, Danielle, let's make you happier. Let's talk about cast iron.
Please.
Ooh, yeah. So in that video, that was the dinner I made tonight, and that butter was a red wine shallot butter.
Oh, nice.
So good. And for the folks at home, what I had done was for a ribeye, and that was a boneless ribeye. What I like to do, although it's not required, is I like to put my cast iron pan in the oven first to heat it, so it gets evenly heated throughout. And I know that as soon as I take it out, I know that pan is already hot. Like I'm not like waiting. I'm not waiting for the whole pan to ensure that it's equally and evenly heated. But I put that in the oven first, and then that ribeye, I just did salt and pepper on both sides, let it get to room temperature, and then popped on my NSYNC, put that butter on there, and tossed it right in the pan, and then I just turned the pan to medium low, and was just turning it consistently, and got this nice, like it was such a beautiful crust that I had gotten on this steak. And, I took it off to rest while I made my potato. Like, just everything about this was so good. And I'm getting so excited now thinking about it, even though I already ate it. And I'm still full from it. Okay. But there's just something that is so satisfying about cooking a meal in a cast iron grill exactly the way that you want it. I'm sorry, a cast iron pan. Exactly the way that you want it, where you just feel like this sense of accomplishment afterwards, especially when you take, that hot, heavy freaking pan off the burner and like move it, like you feel like you've done work and you've earned the meal you're about to eat. And it was so good. It was just so good.
When you take the pan off, when the meat's resting, that's the moment that you really have to imprint in your mind, because that's the you that all future yous are going to be jealous of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've already put the work in, you made the compound butter, you seared it on both sides, it's cooked to perfection, and every single bite is ahead of you. Like that moment, that's good stuff.
Yeah. And that with what's left in that pan when you go to clean it, because when you clean a cast iron pan, you don't scrub it, so that you're gonna get that. The next time you go to cook a steak, it'll be like remembering all of the steaks that were there before it.
Just memory foam, but for a pan.
Exactly. It's a memory foam pan. That's exactly what it is.
And actually, they can also, like you were saying, yours is really giant. That you could definitely kill somebody with that if you had to, right? You had a home invasion or something. You could totally knock them in the head with that.
I feel like that's my workout. Is when I make steak, between 1 and 7 times a week, like just lifting that on and off is like that to me is why my forearm is particularly strong.
I was just thinking, it's like if I ever want to know, Danielle, how you're doing, I'll always just ask, like, on a scale of 1 to 7, how good was your week?
I mean, today is Tuesday. I'm at a 4, so you
nice. That's a good week.
What day?
I don't mean to bring this back to it, but all I'm seeing now in my head, since you brought up NSYNC again, is the slaughterhouse. It's the slaughterhouse. Bye.
Don't want to be a fool for you. Just another player in this game.
And Danielle just laughing gleefully as she does it.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably true. Did you guys ever have to read Lord of the Flies in high school?
Yes.
So I had to read that in 10th grade, and after we read it, we had to. Our teacher asked us, we had to vote for if you had to be trapped on, a deserted island with somebody in the class. Like, you can only choose one person. Who would you choose and why? And everybody had to write it down. And unanimously, they chose me. And the number one reason was because I seemed like the only person who would have no problem catching, killing, and cooking a pig. And I was like, cool.
It's like one of those superlative awards you could win in the yearbook.
What helped me is those innocent children don't understand that once the hunger sets in, they'll all kill that pig.
Yep. Just wait till they're hungry. Oh, actually, speaking of hunger, I popped over to the chat for a second, and Dr. Crumbles asked, are sides overrated?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Within the context of a steakhouse is how I'll answer that first. Absolutely not. Like, I mean, you're there for the steak, but it's not like you're just going to sit in like a windowless room on like a featureless obsidian plane and just eat steak. Like, it's an experience. And if you go to a good steakhouse, getting
I'll tell you,
like
the one steakhouse side that is overrated, and it pains me to say this because for a long time, it was my favorite because it should be the best. but hash browns at a steakhouse
Yeah,
aren't
I agree.
worth it. They're a little crispy, but they're basically bland potatoes that have been fried pretty well, but they're a little greasy. And you should get like a good blue cheese mash or the lobster mac and cheese.
Or a potatoes au gratin too.
Yeah, potatoes au gratin, scallop potatoes. There are other ways to, and that's the thing, Ben. You're absolutely right. Like when you think hash brown, it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be golden brown.
Yeah.
I'm in pajamas in my mind.
Yep.
But yeah, they shredded up potato and cooked it in a cast iron, and you can also do that at home.
Right.
Well,
Making lobster mac, that's a little harder at home. So let the pros do that for you.
You know, for sides for me, and by the way, we were talking about health earlier, so I'm one of those keto psychos. So I've actually lost 50 pounds eating a ton of meat and improved all of my health numbers across the board. No longer pre-diabetic, no longer high blood pressure, et cetera, so forth. So I will fight anyone who wants to talk about that stuff. But in terms of sides at steakhouses, or honestly at most restaurants, boo, because they're just going to give me some friggin', it's just going to be broccoli or something. And even at nicer steakhouses I've been to, they often don't do anything that nice to it. So I have to ask, can I have some extra maitre d' butter or garlic butter, or like do something to it myself at the table? So I've lower end, like the 99 in the South Shore of Boston. I've put ranch on, the steamed broccoli, things like that. So not always great on the veggie sides, but the carb sides always great, I think.
Are there good keto friendly like restaurant side dishes?
What are they?
Like, yeah, what are they, or are there even any?
Oh, yeah. Well, basically, if you're trying to keep keto or low carb, Atkins, paleo, there's a lot of crossover in all those diets. Whole30 for the same thing too. Basically, it's just going to be meat and veggies. So it's whatever they would have steamed. Usually it's steamed veggies for me, but also cream spinach is perfect. I used to Boston Market. I liked the cream spinach so much. I just loved it. And I would convert my friends to it. I worked at Boston Symphony for 5 years and went there with Boston Market next to it. And I was with my friend Paul once, and I was like, I was looking. They brought out a fresh steaming thing of the cream spinach, and I was just like, I just want to take that and slather it all over myself and then lick it off. And then the guy behind the counter heard me. And every single time I went in there, he'd do that look like, I see you.
So is dairy is okay on keto? I can have like cheese and stuff.
Oh, actually, dairy keto is very heavy in the dairy. I personally have had to cut back because I'm super lactose intolerant. But I did make a low carb pizza the other day with. And it was a small personal one with a burrata ball in the middle of it, and it's heaven.
Because
I love a good grilled asparagus with Parmesan cheese on it. Oh man!
Because that's the thing. Like those were the questions. Those are the answers. Like a creamed spinach, or like asparagus, good olive oil.
So
because if not, you're getting steamed stuff.
Exactly.
And you can do that at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, of course. But cooking at home is actually much better because cauliflower, it's a little cliche and overdone now, but I actually I'm some keto things. I'm like, I won't serve to people, I'll just have it and I'll serve, other people, other things. I've actually have 2 different groups of friends who prefer my whipped cauliflower to actual potatoes. You can load it with all the same stuff. I know I get it, Danielle, I totally do, but it is damn good. You load it with all
I trust you. I'm curious. I would never go into the trouble of making it myself, but I trust you.
Believe you, because at the end of the day, the potatoes, mashed potatoes, are really just a vehicle for the butter and the sour cream and the whatever.
Yeah, and
so
if you're doing them through a food mill or a food processor, you're going to get that texture you want.
Yeah.
Anytime. And actually, Ben, I agree with you so much because that's a lot of people I'm in a bunch of keto groups online and everything, and Reddit subgroups, and everyone's like, oh, this doesn't taste like a potato. And I like to think about that. I like to think about what is the function of it. So does cauliflower rice taste like rice? No. Does it serve the function of absorbing sauce for things like, Indian butter chicken? Yes. So I agree with you in terms of functionality and in terms of it being a base and getting to flavor it. So honestly, I've made so many ridiculous things out of cauliflower, but it defends my Irish, my quarter Irish heritage, I think, is probably dying like grandpa, might be rolling over a little bit in his grave, but I'm skinny and boys are going to like me soon. So,
So why do people get mad when Gabe Thomas puts hot sauce on steak?
Hot sauce.
I guess it depends on the context. You know, like in my mind,
hot sauce is all right.
Yeah, like in my mind, if I am at like, I don't know, if I'm at like a state fair and I'm getting like a chicken fried steak, I'm gonna throw a little hot sauce on there. But if I'm getting a steak that's like, I want the steak to be the star of the show, if I'm getting like a bone-in ribeye, medium rare that I paid some stupid amount of money for, I just want to eat that steak, or maybe steak with a lump of crab meat on it. But like, I don't want to hit it with anything overpowering. It's why I very rarely use Worcestershire sauce on my steak. So hot sauce would do the same thing. You just make it about the hot sauce.
Right. Yeah. I don't know when I started doing this, but it's a thing that I do. Is when I get steak, I get a side of blue cheese salad dressing instead of a blue cheese crown because it's not as strong. But I like the essence of the blue cheese, so then I just dip a little bit in the blue cheese.
Good. Yeah, because there's butter. It's buttercream, or like it's a little milder.
Like and it's that to me is like the good balance, right?
Yeah, because it can be overwhelming big time.
All right, let's close it out with Ben's expertise on meat.
Oh man! So one of the things that I want to talk about is the kinds of meat, the cuts of meat that you should look for, and sort of thinking about. Everybody loves a ribeye. Everybody loves a New York strip. Those are going to cost you, at least $17 a pound, right? For a good one, unless you're getting them somewhere, whatever. But
if you're getting them all,
that's a Waltham cut.
And so, right, a lot of people know about the hanger steaks. A lot of people know about the flat iron steak. I want to talk about two steaks in particular. One is the bavette steak. The bavette steak is basically the end of the flank steak. So if the flank steak is sitting here on the side of the animal, the bavette is what's tucking under. It's also sort of called a flap. It's at the end of that, and it's tucking up under the ribs. It's sitting on top of on the stomach, and so it's just a beautiful cut of meat. If it's the whole cut by itself is about 4 pounds, and you'll see that at a Brazilian steakhouse. It's called a vacaio or a vacaio steak, and it's delicious, and it's mostly slow roasted that way. But if it's cut down like a bavette steak, if you are in France and you get steak frite, most likely it's going to be a bavette steak that you're eating. It's a beautiful cut of meat. You can sear it very, very quickly. Eat it rare. It's delicious. The other cuts of meat that I want to talk about. So a lot of the meats, we were talking about the chuck earlier and how chuck is a shitty kind of meat. And chuck is broken up into sort of two areas of chuck. Chuck clod, which is a weird, disgusting name for the muscles around the outside of the chuck, which is the shoulder, basically. The chuck is anything from the fifth rib on the cow forward. So everything from the fifth rib back to the rump, that's where the ribeyes are from. If it's the fifth rib forward, that's the chuck. That's the part of the cow that's being used the most. So a lot of those muscles are really tough and not great, but there are some hidden gems in there, right? So in the clod is one side, and the chuck roll is the other one. If you've ever heard of a chuck roast is basically the chuck roll, and they cut a cross section of the chuck roll, so you get a whole bunch of the different muscles in there, and you roast it up, and it's whatever. But the top of the chuck roast, there's a little steak that sits under the shoulder blades, and it's called the Denver steak. And you rarely will see this in a butcher shop. You'll see it in a couple butcher shops, but there's only one per cow. It's only about 8 to 12 ounces overall, and it sits under the shoulder blades, and it does nothing. So among all this stuff, it's just sitting the entire time, and it's just this beautiful little tender steak. And if you ever see a Denver steak, just order it. Just get that Denver steak and don't even think twice about it. It's a really delicious piece of meat that is way, way better than any price that you're going to pay for it. And if you pay an elevated price at all, it's because it's kind of a pain in the ass to separate it out from the rest of that chuck. That's usually why they slice it across, and you'll get a cross section. But you can totally do that. Danielle and I want to become butchers. We've talked about it. We want to take butchery classes and then eventually open up a butcher because I really enjoy how animals, how the cow especially comes together. I think it's really, really neat.
Long-term plan.
How a cow comes together or how a cow goes apart.
Yes, right. Because they say to butcher it, you're really looking for its own natural seams. You're not hacking into it in an unnatural place. You're looking for where it wants to separate and allowing the knife to sort of just go through and allowing gravity to do its work. If you're pushing and the knife is going through, you shouldn't be forcing anything through at all, unless you hit a bone. If you hit a bone, then you're sawing, right? But otherwise, you should be finding seams. The one piece of meat, though, if you ever see it anywhere, it's called the petite tenderloin. It's the tenderloin shoulder, also known as the petite. What's it called? Oh man, it's the tenderloin shoulder, and it is basically, it tastes like a tenderloin. It's got more flavor than a tenderloin because it's up here and it's surrounded by all these other muscles that are doing their thing. The tenderloin, right? I think we can all agree, is probably the most overrated steak. It's delicious. Don't get me wrong, but when you have a tenderloin, you are saucing it with something. Yeah. You are cooking it with a sauce, and that sauce is what's there. And the tenderloin is giving you a beautiful mouth feel because it's so soft, but it doesn't have a lot of fat, so there's not a lot of flavor to it. But the shoulder tenderloin is surrounded by all this fat, so it does have a lot of flavor, but it's got the same consistency as a tenderloin, and you can cook it whole just like a tenderloin, or you can chop it into cubes like fillets. And if you ever see the petite shoulder, oh man, if you go to your butcher and ask for the petite shoulder, it is a fantastic steak, and you're probably paying half of what you were to pay for a tenderloin or a fillet.
Have you gotten that at Savinor's, Ben? Have you gotten that at our butcher?
I have. One of the reasons I've learned a lot about steak is because they're two world-class. Actually, Food and Wine magazine just released like the butchers across the 100 best butchers across the country, and 3 butchers in Massachusetts made that list. 1 is in Waltham, and then 2 are here in Somerville.
What a journey that Waltham has taken in terms of meat priority.
It's Waltham.
Waltham. Waltham. Savinor's, and then of course MF Deluxe, which is a new place here on Highland Avenue.
God bless it.
And they're both just banging out really under known pieces of meat. They're self-butchering all their cows, so they're doing it themselves, and so they're setting it out there. And if you get in there early enough in the day, or if you order it ahead of time, they'll get you whatever you need.
And those 2 Somerville places, they'll talk to you.
Oh yeah.
If you go in there and say, "I've got $50, what'll you get me?" or "I've got $20, what'll it get me?" They'll talk to you about it. And they're more than happy to talk to you about it. That's why it's great. I mean, shopping local is great for a million economic reasons. But when it comes to the food you put in your body, like,
if you're looking
shop
for
local, you're going to learn.
Having a relationship with the butcher is really important. I think we'd probably all agree with that.
Yeah.
You know, and I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it. I know we need to wrap up, but I do just want to ask everyone here: has anyone tried the sous vide cooking method for steak? Is it just me in our group?
I've tried the sous vide.
What did you think, Ben? I'm getting a vibe it didn't rock your world, because to me it was a game changer, and I love it, and I'm obsessed with it.
I love it. I don't feel it's. Again, so here's the thing. Sous vide, really super fun. Every now and then I will do it. For me, I can pan sear and roast a good ribeye in 15 minutes overall.
True. 4 hours,
instead of 4 hours, right?
Yes.
And so it takes a process. It's a process to go like, I'm going to do the sous vide thing. Super fun. I have found sous vide better for like weird cuts of meat. I found like sous vide is more for me like the off stuff, the weird stuff that like you're experimenting with, and like
more moist and stuff. I don't know. For me, it was a steak game changer, because normally that crust you get that you want, there's still that little bit of gray even on a perfect medium rare, right? And it's just that's gone. So that to me is why I love it for steak and things that are often overly dry, like it's hard to get an overly moist chicken breast, right? Things like that.
Right.
So throwing that out there, that y'all should try one.
Yeah, the chicken is fantastic.
I got to tell you the little journey that I went on when I was looking up. I was trying to help Ben by looking up the petite of meat, trying to find out what it was. And the first thing that popped up was petite golden doodle, and I almost came back and was like, Ben, what the fuck?
I like what I like.
Hey, you know what? Sing some NSYNC to that golden doodle. Put a compound butter on it, and all of a sudden you're not going to see dog anymore. You're going to see
exactly.
A teres major is also what it's called. That's the actual muscle's name, which is what I was trying to think of earlier. Also, do you guys like tri-tip? Tri-tip, I feel, is an underrepresented grilled steak. Yeah, well, because Teresa, you're in California. California gets all the tri-tip. Texas sends their tri-tip to California, and California sends their briskets to Texas. That's a true story.
You can't swing a golden doodle without hitting a tri-tip sandwich.
But a person who's doing a good tri-tip, oh, they're so good.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing, though, I have to say, though, y'all were talking about I forgot, I can't pronounce the actual word that well, but Brazilian barbecue. It's super expensive out here. The cheapest you can get, I think, is like $45 a person, and is considered high end here. I think it's because there's a much higher Brazilian population in MA, so that's a little more saturated. But what you want to do out here is Korean barbecue. It's everywhere. It's amazing. It's all you can eat. You want to talk about meat sweats? One of my besties and I, we have meat and feelings, where we just sit, you just eat and talk and talk and talk.
Meat and feelings.
Exactly.
Do you ever do that over Zoom? Because I'm in.
Yes, please. Yes, we have a meat exchange that's going to happen. I would love to take you for meat and feelings. But Korean barbecue out here is so amazing. And if you haven't tried it already, you can make your own at home. Bulgogi is amazing.
Oh, it's so good.
That's what I've been exposed to from moving here versus my Boston upbringing.
Well, especially because Koreatown, there's no place like that here in Massachusetts at all.
Nope. So...
That's been meat.
We can talk about this for hours. That was just beef. Next week we got to get into other cuts of meat.
That was literally just beef.
Same group next week we do chicken.
It's all about spatchcocking your chicken. I swear to God.
I want to thank you all, everybody for watching. I want to thank Teresa. I want to thank John. I want to thank Ben. I want to thank Danielle. I want to thank NSYNC. I want to thank you for making all our meat as tasty as it can be. I want to thank Matt behind the booth. I want to thank Rachel for all the work she's done getting us on social media and everything like that. And I want to thank 2MB Studios as a whole, and just thank everybody. And thank you all. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.
Great.
Thanks,
everybody. Bye.